Today's episode is brought to you by Mazars.
SoundCartel.
From SoundCartel, I'm Nicole Goodman, and this is Business Essentials Daily. Are you concentrating too much on cash flow? Are you giving your customers what they want, or are you turning them away with bad processes or lack of engagement? Businesswoman and entrepreneur Remi Pearson has become the business and personal coach of coaches after founding the Coaching Institute that has now trained more than 10,000 coaches in about 100 countries. She's also the author of 7 books, including Simple Strategies for Business Success. Remi starts by explaining to Jeff Waters what advice she'd give to any small business seeking immediate improvement.
Be very clear on who your market is. Don't try to appeal to everyone. Only appeal to that part of the market where you can add value that they perceive as valuable, and make sure you can lead that market in a way that has meaning to them. There are too many people who say, this market really needs this, or I know this would do really well with them. And when I question them, it's really, that's what the market might need. But the market doesn't buy what it needs. It buys what it wants to buy. It buys based on 2 criteria: how they want to be perceived when they tell the story about it, and how they feel inside once they've made that purchase. That's what you're selling to: the admitted desires, the brag story, and the secret desires, how it really makes me feel. If we can learn the psychology of our market well enough, we then know how to place ourselves in front of them with a big sign saying, I've got what you need. Nothing else sells. What we want and what we need are not the same thing. Now, once they've joined you and they're part of your posse, sure, then give them what they need. But people place money down and follow and see value in what they want. And what they want is to feel significance, belonging, that they've made a difference and that they matter. Take care of those 4 things and you'll have a great market.
So you're talking about the customer there, but what sort of mindset does a small business owner need to adopt?
Firstly, what they need to stop doing, which I see too often and why so many struggle, is they make it about themselves. They want to make a sale, or they think about, I need to make money. That's how not to do well in business. To do well in business, and the way I got to my first million was to just obsess about them. I got myself out of the way and I obsessed about my market. I figured out what they love, what they care about, what they want to invest in, where they spend their time, what they worry about, what keeps them awake at night, what's the magic solution that they want. It was never about me. That's why I cut through in a space that's crowded with good coaches struggling, and did as well as I did, because my focus wasn't on me, Jeff. It was my obsession with who I was going to serve and making sure they got something they perceived as valuable from me, not what I thought I wanted to sell. There's a massive difference.
What did you learn from your own mistakes along the way?
I don't have the time to list my mistakes, all of them, and what I've learned. One mistake was not being organised enough and having the systems in place to support growth in a business. So I didn't have the financial systems, and I didn't act like an adult at all for the first 12 months, to my detriment and to my clients' detriment. So make sure you've got the right systems and support. Another mistake I made was I took too long to hire the support I needed that I paid $20, $30, $40 an hour for, that freed me to make the hundreds of dollars per hour at that stage that I was making. So the moment I outsourced what was non-essential, that freed all those hours for me to do what built my business and served my clients. And that resulted in the most rapid growth. The third mistake I made, and this is just picking 3 out of many, the third mistake I made was thinking I could do alliances with people who weren't clear on their values, weren't clear on their value proposition, and weren't mature enough yet as business people. And so I was either carrying them, we were disagreeing, or we weren't on the same page at all and didn't even know it. And the moment I stopped doing alliances like that and only worked with people who were very clear on their USP, very clear on why they were there, very clear on their values, and already had the runs on the board, business got a lot more mature.
There is so much for leaders across industries to manage today, so don't feel like you're alone. There's a great resource actually called Leading Conversations. It's a podcast from leading teams, and it shines a light on the kinds of issues that impact performance, eat away at culture, and how they helped to turn things around. There's 3 full seasons of Leading Conversations available, so start listening at leadingteams.net.au/podcast, or it's free wherever you listen to podcasts.
So you've grown your business to 8 figures turnover in just 5 years. What's your secret?
So we moved to 8 figures probably 10 or 11 years ago, Jeff. And so it happened in the first 5 years. I've been going for 18. It was obsession with clients. There's a whole thing around this that I teach that I'm just passionate about. If you're not clear on what they care about, they shouldn't care about you. So I'm really clear about that. The thing that seems to make the difference, and I'm uncomfortable talking about myself, but it really is the more generous you are in your marketplace, the more you give away for free, the more people can get to know you better, the more they know you better before they buy, the more confident they can be in the buying decision they're going to make. So we've always just had this philosophy of giving away our best stuff and letting that speak for itself. Having an attitude of generosity, of inclusion, of helping people know they belong, that they matter, that they can make a difference with us and that they're special with us means we've created a movement around the world. We're in 90-something countries now because of this attitude of there is a place with us where you will get your needs for belonging and to feel that you matter met. And most companies are just involved in transactions. If I sell you this, you give me money. I don't believe that's what business is. I think business is about adding value. It's about serving. It's about creating a community for like-minded people to be passionate and geek out on what they love. And that's what we've done.
You've coached a lot of companies. Can you give any examples of how these principles have helped them?
I can give an example where it didn't help because they disregarded everything, and one where it did help. So the one where it didn't help, they would not listen to this idea that the client has to come first. They really thought it was about just signing up as many clients as possible, as fast as possible, instead of getting clients who are a match for their promise. And so they had a lot of quit rates. They had a quit rate of 40-something%. Our quit rate is around 1%, 2%. It's the world's best practice. 97 to 98% of our members stay, and in market average of less than 60% staying. An example of where it really has worked is where an organization just took it and ran with it, and they went from $4 to $20 million in about 5 years' time based on these principles. And there's other things they did, and all credit to them. They did the yards. I just helped them with the muscles they needed to build. And so they built those muscles, and they really live by the principles from the critical alignment model, which I speak a lot about, which is this idea of full dimensional living and full dimensional thinking, and this passion for their clients, and only having people join them who are a match for their promise. No one else should join. If we're a match, Jeff, we should do business. And if we're not a match, blessings, have a great life, go and find your match. But that makes business so easy. If we're a match and our values are aligned, why wouldn't we do business? That's where it really works. That's where it sings.
So is there one point that you can give, or one pointer that you can give to small businesses out there that you think is a common complaint?
They don't get enough cash in. That's the number one complaint and the number one reason why they think they fail. But I would challenge that and say there are other questions you should be asking before you worry about the cash flow. Are you in a market where there is a hungry crowd? And if they're not hungry for what you've got, don't complain about the cash flow. That's number one in business. Number two, you might have a hungry crowd. Are you serving the dish they want to eat? Make sure what you offer is a match for their hunger. If it's not, don't complain about the cash flow. Number three, if you are in a hungry crowd and you've got a match but they're not buying, have a look at your systems. How are you onboarding these people, or how are you turning them off? And it will be revealed in what you do before they spend money with you. Then we'll talk about cash flow.
That was Remi Pearson, founder of the Coaching Institute. This episode of Business Essentials Daily is produced by the team at SoundCartel. Thanks for listening. I'm Nicole Goodman. We'll bring you more Be Daily tomorrow. Follow at BE Daily Podcast across social media and head to bedaily.com.au for more from the Business Essentials Daily podcast. SoundCartel. This episode was brought to you by Mazars. To find out more, visit mazars.com.au. That's mazars.com.au.